Today, what I wanted to do is to go over the videos of the edentulous maxilla case I presented in the last session.
The Quan implant restoration method allows the fabrication and insertion of a one-piece implant prosthesis in one single step after implantation.
Last session, we have presented a case with 8 implant supported edentulous maxilla. It's a screw retained and engaging prosthesis. So I'll carry on from the last slide. This is the palatal view of that prosthesis secured by 4 retaining screw, and that the other 8 implants are also engaging to the prosthesis. And this is the frontal view of the prosthesis. Now, at that time, 1996, we just first started with using isoseat material, which is similar to a hard composite. But later on, we have changed that into the traditional porcelain bonded to metal type of prosthesis. So this case was finished in 1996, and the patient had a couple of complications after the insertion that the isocyst actually came off. So we repair it intraorally with the prosthesis. And this is the x-ray of the prosthesis and the implant at time of right after insertion. Okay, you can. So 2003, fast forward 7 years, the patient came back with, as you can see, quite atrocious type of oral hygiene. The fact is that the patient has suffered a stroke and have limited mobility or dexterity with her oral hygiene or other daily functions. But nevertheless, the prosthesis held up quite well, and she decided to come in and have it checked. So with that, I proceed to remove the prosthesis by removing the 4 retaining screw and remove it. And then, as you can see, the anterior attached gingiva is still quite robust, and it's still there. So and it is fully in function. And after you remove the prosthesis, you can see the 8 abutments that are in place with very little bone loss. And this is the palatal side of the prosthesis. And you can see this is the left side is the prosthesis with the 8 hexagonal shaped copings, which is engaging to the abutment at the same time. Now, looking at the x-ray, you can see the 2 posterior screw on both sides have more bone loss or radiolucency around the implant, more so than the interior, meaning that they probably are taking on more load than the other anterior implant. But I was making the assumption that once they are telescoping in there, the resistance to displacement of the prosthesis was supported by the vertical walls of that hexagonal shaped abutment, and the apical bite or forces was taken on by the collar or the abutment collar. So the idea of the 4 screw were merely as a set screw to hold them in place, while all the apical resistance retention was provided by the matching of the hexagonal coping engaging the hexagonal abutment. That was the concept at that time. So after a brief cleanup, and I reinserted the prosthesis again, You can see it on the lower left pictures. Okay. The interesting thing is that when you see the attached gingiva, they seems to be able to maintain um, um, or with no bone loss, therefore supporting the soft tissue. And so now I'm trying to compare. 1996, the patient was, I would say, 63 years old. So fast forward 7 years, so she was be about 70 years old. So 2003, that's what she came in, or she had to suffer a stroke, and those are um, the two different X-ray. One 1996, the upper one, the lower is 2003. Basically, essentially, they are the same. All the implants are solid and supported well. The prosthesis. Now, let me show you the videos of that appointment when she came in. She came in like that, so I proceeded to remove the prosthesis after removing retaining screws. You see, when you remove the screw, it's like a drawer. You have to remove it like a drawer. And that after I clean up the prosthesis, examine all the abutments, I reinserted the prosthesis and then reattach it with the retaining screw. Okay, good. You have a good. I'll see you maybe another year, I think. Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, the patient, I never get to see her the following year, nor the year after, and she actually passed away 3 years after. So the total time served for this prosthesis is 10 years. Then that raises a very important question, is that how long would we expect this type of implant-supported prosthesis to last? In her case, it's permanent or lifetime, we would like to tell our patient, but in fact it's for only 10 years. Now, the next time I want to discuss a case, what happened when the patient came in when she was only 50 years old or 55 years old, and that we need to, maybe 10 years is not enough. 10 years is only 65. There's another 10 years. So those are the questions that raises as we proceeded to have more experience treating more patients and have more complications. Then those things start to come into my mind, and that I will address those at the next episode. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or cases, please comment below or email me.